Hey, it's Sela Social Studies.
Hey guys, welcome back to Sela Social Studies. Today we're going to briefly cover John Adams' presidency. Why? Because it was a brief presidency. It was only one term, 4 years, and he definitely had his share of problems. Not because he necessarily brought them upon himself, but it was more or less that Washington, even though he was or still is regarded like one of our best presidents, did kind of kick the can down the road a little bit when it came down to foreign nations. So let's go ahead and get involved with John Adams, the XYZ affair, and the Quasi War. So who was John Adams? John Adams was a leading patriot during the Revolutionary War. He fought hard for the Continental Congress, for the government. He fought against Britain. He was a real rallying guy. He might not have had Washington's dignity, but he was definitely respected for his hard work, his honesty, his intelligence, his work ethic of getting everything together and really pushing the idea of revolution. He served as George Washington's vice president. As we said, he is the Federalist Party. He's the party that shares with Alexander Hamilton. And actually, John Adams winds up being the one and only Federalist who gets elected to the presidency. After John Adams, the Federalist Party just kind of tanks, and he does have a big part in the failure of the Federalist Party. He beats out Thomas Jefferson in that election and again becomes the second president of the United States of America after George Washington. Now, who does John Adams have the problem with? Like I said, George Washington kind of kicked the can down the road when it came down to foreign nations. And one of the foreign nations that we have a big problem with under John Adams is right here. That is the flag of France. So he has problems with France. Now, what type of problems with France? If you remember Jay's Treaty, when we just covered Jay's Treaty, that was a treaty signed in the 1790s that made the United States and Britain most favored trade partners. Well, if you remember, again, Britain and France, like always, are in war in Europe. So Britain and France are fighting. We signed a treaty with Britain to go ahead and be a favored trade partner, and now France is mad at us. So John Adams sends some diplomats over to France to try to help negotiate a trade agreement or a treaty to protect U.S. shipping. One of the guys he sends over there is John Marshall, right? So they go over there to speak to the French foreign minister, the Marquis de Talleyrand, and they want to sit there and strike a deal. Remember, at this point in time, the king was beheaded, so we're trying to deal with the Marquis. And he does not want to meet with them. So what does he do instead? Well, he actually sends these agents. And when Marshall comes back and tells John Adams about what happened over there, John Adams, not wanting to post their names in the paper, calls them Agents X, Y, and Z. So Agents X, Y, and Z demand a $250,000 bribe before they can even talk to Talleyrand, and that's Talleyrand right there. But France also asked for a $10 million loan. So they're like, no, it says right there, they would pay millions for defense, but not 1 cent for tribute. So we're getting mad. John Adams is getting mad. Marshall's getting mad. They're like, listen, who do these French people think they are trying to bribe us just to talk to this guy to make a deal? What do the French start doing? If you remember the British impressment, stealing the sailors, the French start doing it too, kidnapping sailors and putting them to work in their own navy. This is a political cartoon about the XYZ affair. It says some things. French ships continued to attack American merchants in this cartoon. Why do you think that this person right here is making the woman look away? These people aren't helping the woman. What do you think they're suggesting? They're supposed to be other European nations just looking on. All right, so Adams did not want to have war with France. Adams actually expands the Navy to 30 ships. He asks Congress to approve a peacetime army, so build the army up a little bit to kind of get ready to go to war with France. But they don't actually go into like a physical war. We go into something what we call the Quasi War. And the Quasi War is an undeclared war between the United States and France. We didn't declare it on them. They didn't declare it on us. However, our Navy ships were fighting French ships in the Caribbean. Wasn't anybody type of army or anything like that. It was naval warfare. And in 1800, the United States and France signed the Convention of 1800, which is a treaty ending the Quasi War.